अस्सलाम वालेकुम स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। आज हम EDUA 601 जो कि फिलोसॉफिकल फाउंडेशंस ऑफ अर्ली चाइल्डहुड एजुकेशन का सब्जेक्ट है, इसके मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट लेक्चर वाइज MCQs जो है वो कवर करेंगे। इसमें लेक्चर नंबर 23 से 45 तक कवर किया जाएगा, जो कि फाइनल टर्म प्रिपरेशन के लिए आपके बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट साबित होंगे। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं लेक्चर 23 के साथ। Who is regarded as the founder of the progressive education movement? John Dewey. Dewey founded the University Laboratory School in 1896. According to Dewey, the best way to make human experience intelligent is inquiry. Dewey rejected education based mainly on rote memorization. For Dewey, genuine freedom also requires personal discipline. Dewey considered education a necessity of life. Education supports the continued existence of society mainly through communication. Education gained naturally by living and communicating with others is called incidental education. Dewey described education as a fostering, nurturing, and nourishing process. Adults consciously influence the education of children mainly by controlling the environment. How many specific functions of the school environment did Dewey identify? Three functions. A complex civilization should be presented to learners in a gradual and graded way. The school should remove which features from the existing environment? Unworthy features. The school should help learners escape the limitation of their social group. Effective educational direction requires balance between guidance and regulation. According to Dewey, every stimulus directs activity towards an object. The strongest social influence on mental and moral disposition is association with others. The primary condition of growth is immaturity. Dewey called a habit a form of executive skill. Education for Dewey is a continual process of reorganizing and reconstruction or reconstructing. Dewey criticized education viewed only as preparation for adult life. Why is the remote future a weak motivator for children? They live in the present. Dewey rejected the idea that the mind contains ready-made powers awaiting exercise. Dewey described schools as miniature or embryonic societies. In a democratic school, the teacher mainly acts as a facilitator. Dewey wanted education to be freely available for kindergarten to college. The reward of learning is continued capacity for growth. A good educational aim should grow out of existing conditions. According to Dewey, all inquiry begins with a genuine doubt. The third step in Dewey's inquiry process is introduction of a hypothesis. In Dewey's inquiry process, the fourth step is elaborating the hypothesis. The final step of effective inquiry is to test the hypothesis experimentally. Dewey accepted that a tested hypothesis may turn out false. Dewey's curriculum should include the child's own preconceptions, which is not one of Dewey's four child impulses. Competitive. A major criticism says Dewey's experimentalism can turn students into lab rats. Democratic schools are based on genuine participatory democracy. People affected by social institutions should share in producing and managing them, which is one of the three forms of democracy discussed: deep democracy. All three democratic forms support universal education for effective citizenship. Institutional republicanism supports a limited representative government. Its civic focus is mainly on obeying law and voting. Popular democracy emphasizes civic involvement beyond periodic voting. Popular democracy prepares learners to move from critical awareness to principled action. Deep democracy advocates participation in all social and civic life. Deep democracy values direct experience in collective civic engagement. For Dewey, vocation balances individual capacity with social service. The true opposite of a career, according to the handouts, is aimlessness. A criticism of democratic education is that young children still need authoritative guidance. The tyranny of majority criticism suggests a core curriculum may suppress individualism. Maria Montessori was originally trained as clinical pediatrician. Montessori based her educational work mainly on observation. She believed mental deficiency was primarily a pedagogical problem. Casa dei Bambini was established in 1907. In Montessori education, the teacher is called a directress. Which thinker influenced Montessori through a scientific and methodical approach? Jean-Marc Gaspard Ettard. Seguin's influence contributed to Montessori's concept of moral education. The first CASA experiment included approximately 40 children. Buttoning and bow tying exercises were designed for motor education. Montessori freedom was freedom with responsibility. The Montessori teacher-child relationship replaced teacher dominance. The new Montessori teacher helps children become independent. Montessori was among the first to recognize children's social rights. Free children in Montessori's observation often preferred work to play. Which response was commonly refused by free children? Rewards. A modern classroom practice strongly supported by Montessori is observation of students. Montessori initially delayed reading and writing because of contemporary thinking. Who strongly encouraged Montessori to introduce early literacy? Illiterate mothers. Montessori considered spoken language largely natural and spontaneous. Metal insects mainly prepared children for pencil control. Many children in the first CASA showed interest in writing at about 4 years. Before reading logical texts, Montessori children practiced reading words mechanically. Which material introduces numbers through red and blue division? Number rods. The spindle box contains compartments numbered 0 to 9. Montessori introduced cardboard substitutes to teach money and change. The first Montessori teacher training course was planned in 1909. Teachers in Montessori training were prepared as observers and researchers. The Montessori classroom was viewed as a laboratory. The 3-period lesson emphasizes brevity, simplicity, and objectivity. Which plane covers age 12 to 18? Abstract thinking. Montessori considered age 12 to 15 a psychologically critical period. The period from 15 to 18 years is generally described as calmer. At age 18 to 24, the learner is considered capable of choosing future direction. Montessori believed curriculum should be based mainly on children's interest. In Montessori education, materials are tools, not the curriculum. Montessori called imagination a tool to discover truth. Fantasy, when confused with imagination, may impede development. A prepared environment should normally contain one piece of each material. Which is preferred in Montessori environment? Natural wood materials. The directress should often remain more passive than active. Montessori believed home, school, and society should combine in education. Mothers in Montessori schools were allowed to observe the classroom at any time. Montessori generally assigned no set homework. Parents were discouraged from using prizes and punishments. Montessori's chief critic mentioned in the handouts was William Kilpatrick. A criticism of the prepared environment is that it is artificial. The first notable Muslim philosopher listed is Al-Kindi, who was known among Muslims as the second teacher. Al-Farabi, Al-Khwarizmi divided philosophy into theoretical and practical. A first cause must be necessarily existent because it has no cause. It has no cause. The philosophers argued that there can be how many necessarily existent beings? One. Anything composed of parts must require a cause. A philosophers ascribed how many positive attributes to God? Seven. The seven positive attributes were ultimately reduced to the attribute of knowledge. Which philosopher openly rejected revealed religion and prophecy? Al-Razi. Ibn Sina argued that prophecy is necessary for proper functioning of society. A prophet's distinguishing sign in Ibn Sina's argument is the power to perform miracles. Apparent conflict between scripture and demonstration was addressed through allegorical interpretation. The Quran describes the prophet's teaching role as teaching the book and wisdom. The prophet often aroused interest by beginning with a question. The prophet often organized materials into numbered groups such as 3 or 5. A pause before listing points was used mainly to create curiosity. Pointing to the chest while saying "Pity is here" is an example of gesture. Repetition, rhythm, and brevity primarily supported memory. Jawami al-Kalim refers to statements that are concise and comprehensive. In Islam, children are described as a trust. Every child is born upon a pure natural disposition called fitra. The process of learning begins before birth. Cognitive development is described as most intense from 0 to 3 years. Iqbal viewed khudi as a natural urge for self-development and growth. Iqbal viewed education as a social process that cannot fully occur in isolation. The central foundation of a Muslim educational system is Tawheed. Montessori linked early social interaction with compassion and cooperation. Iqbal regarded development of the self as the prime aim of education. Trial and error helps children discover their latent abilities. The first and most important trainers of a child are parents. Imam Ali compared the young heart to uncultivated land. An important Islamic ECE method is teaching through a good role model. The Prophet taught prayer by first demonstrating it. Fair treatment of children helps prevent jealousy and envy. Effective advice to children should be given at the right time and place. The Prophet advised his child to eat with the right hand. The child was also taught to eat from what was near him. Praying for children is described as an important duty of parents and educators. Rewards and warning in Islamic education are called targhib, tarhib. Daily routines help young children function in a structured environment. A balanced ECE schedule should also include rest and unstructured outdoor play. A teacher should remove or repair materials that pose a safety threat. If a teacher leaves briefly, children must be watched by another responsible employee. Appropriate discipline should be firm and fair but never abusive. Teachers should communicate routine observation to parents at regular intervals. A serious concern about a child should be communicated immediately. A useful anecdotal record should be specific. A portfolio may include children's work, checklist, and parent observations. Portfolios support assessment and planning. John Locke described the newborn mind as tabula rasa. Locke is known as the father of classical liberalism. Locke's educational aim was a sound mind in a sound body. For the common person, Locke emphasized moral, social, and vocational knowledge, which was part of the gentleman's education, good breeding. Locke's environmentalism holds that development is strongly shaped by the environment. Early education can compensate for an impoverished environment. A well developed sensory environment is considered essential. Pestalozzi's famous motto was learning by head, hand, and heart. Naturalism considers nature the wholeness of reality. Naturalists regard the senses as gateways of knowledge. Naturalistic education gives the central position to the child. The watchword of naturalistic education is freedom. A major aim of naturalistic education is self-expression. Naturalism seeks the fullest development of the child. At the first curriculum level, naturalism emphasizes training the senses. Rousseau called education up to age 12 negative education. From age 12 to 20, training of intellect should occur mainly through experience. At higher stages, naturalists prefer science taught through fieldwork and exploration. A method directly advocated by naturalists is playway. John Amos Comenius is considered the father of modern education. Comenius presented universal education in Didactica Magna. Orbis Pictus is famous for the successful use of illustrations. Comenius preferred learning ideas through objects rather than words. Comenius believed knowledge should be presented according to the child's readiness. Robert Owen was a Welsh textile manufacturer and social reformer. Owen gained wealth from a textile mill at New Lanark. The first infant school was established in Scotland in 1816. Owen's infant school aimed to protect children from poverty. The infant school environment emphasized practical problems and little punishment. In 1870, the official school entrance age in England was set at 5. In 1933, Haddow report supported discovery learning and child-centered practice. The Netherlands included infant schools in the public system in 1965. US Head Start programs adopted practices from English infant schools. Froebel established the first kindergarten in Germany in 1837. A major criticism of early Froebelian kindergarten was that it was too rigid. By 1920, which approach had gained dominance in kindergarten reform? Progressive. Patti Smith-Hill founded NAN, now known as NICE, N-A-E-Y-C, NICE. Froebel described education as both dictating and giving way. For Froebel, schools should reveal the inner relationship of God, man, and nature. Froebel emphasized character development more than simple transmission of external knowledge. Margaret and Rachel McMillan were born in New York State. Margaret McMillan helped Bradford introduce school medical service, meals, and baths. Compulsory school medical inspection became law in 1907. The Deptford Clinic emphasized fresh air, sunlight, and good food. The Macmillan Open Air Nursery School began in London in 1911. It initially served about 30 children aged 18 months to 7 years. The term nursery school emphasized care, nurture, and learning. The City and Country School was opened by Caroline Pratt in 1913. The Bureau of Educational Experiments Nursery School was directed by Harriet Johnson. The first parent cooperative nursery school began at the University of Chicago. The Miller-Palmer Institute became known for parent education. Early nursery school emphasized the whole child and plenty of free and outdoor play. The HighScope method was founded in 1970. HighScope grew from the Perry Preschool project for children from poor families. The HighScope curriculum has how many main focus areas? 8. High school organizes learning into 58 key developmental indicators. HighScope headquarters are located in Ypsilanti, Michigan. The driving force of the high school classroom is active learning. HighScope teachers first validate knowledge and then extend thinking. A predictable daily routine helps children understand what happens next. Sharing learning with peers encourages independent learning and thinking, which is an ingredient of active learning. Choice. The Bank Street School for Children was founded in 1916 by Lucy Sprague Mitchell. Mitchell was strongly influenced by Dewey's idea of learning by doing. The Bank Street method is primarily child-centered. Bank Street supports cognitive, emotional, physical, and social growth. Learning in Bank Street classrooms often combines subjects and occurs in groups. Teachers use play as an educational jumping off point. Bank Street teacher may change topics according to children's interest. Bank Street preschool classrooms often include mixed ages. Bank Street College in New York was founded in 1916. A play store activity may lead to lessons about food, shopping, and health. Although child-centered, the Bank Street approach still includes structure. Rudolf Steiner opened his first school in Stuttgart in 1919. Steiner education aims to develop a lifelong love of learning. Steiner links resilience with stable, loving relationship and positive school experiences. Steiner early childhood setting commonly use natural play material. Young children may learn cooking, sewing, gardening, and using tools. Formal academic learning in Steiner ECE begins after building strong foundational skills. Waldorf education addresses the academic, physical, emotional, and spiritual child. Steiner education treats artistic activity and imagination as integral to learning. The Reggio Emilia approach developed after World War II. The Reggio Emilia approach was founded by Loris Malaguzzi with local parents and citizens. Malaguzzi's 100 languages refers to the children's many ways to express themselves. इसके साथ ही हमारा EDUA601 की फाइनल टर्म प्रिपरेशन के हवाले से तमाम MCQs मुकम्मल हो जाते हैं। मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि ये वीडियो आपके लिए बहुत यूजफुल रहेगी इंशाल्लाह ताला। अगर आपके कोई सवालात हो, कोई डाउट्स हो या आप कोई फीडबैक देना चाहें तो ज़रूर मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताइएगा। चैनल पर नए हैं तो सब्सक्राइब करना हरगिज़ ना भूलिएगा और मेरी वीडियोस को लाजमी वर्चुअल यूनिवर्सिटी के डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स में, प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे शेयर कीजिए ताकि आपकी तरह दूसरे स्टूडेंट भी इन वीडियो से फायदा हासिल कर सके। मैं इंशाल्लाह ताला अपने नेक्स्ट वीडियो के साथ जल्द हाजिर होंगी। तब तक आप सब अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा। Allah Hafiz.